Hey, what's doing YouTube? All right, I got another hypertrophy tips video for you guys, looking at the exercise selection for a squat, looking to build the most amount of quads possible. So my number one go-to for quads is a hack squat. I like a banded hack squat, just takes a little bit of pressure off the knees at the bottom. But the main reason why I like the hack squat is the bracing at the hips, and the ability to sort of, the whole machine is set up basically so you can get your knees over the toes as much as possible in a safe movement, and get those hamstrings on the calves. So there's a lot of tension at the lengthened range, the lengthened and the mid range, which if you're looking to build the most muscle, that's where you're going to want to be. And because you've got the stability of the pad, you can go a little bit further into failure, and you can push out a few more extra reps without worrying about any sort of stability issues. Next up would be a pendulum squat. So again, a machine designed for your knees to travel over your toes as much as possible and get as much of the quad lengthened as possible, and the most tension at the lengthened position. The only difference between this and a hack squat, it's a little bit harder with stability. I mean, you've got a little bit less pad. This is actually a pretty good pendulum squat, but normally you don't have as much padding at the hips, which is arguably better for your knees because it's more of a natural squat pattern and you're not driving your hips into a bench or a pad. But just because this exercise is a little bit more difficult, purely based for hypertrophy, this would be my second go-to. But as you can see, you get a lot of tension at the bottom where the quads are stretched, and a lot of tension through the middle. So obviously a great quad building exercise. A little bit less tension on the knees because of the design of the machine. It's more of a swing sort of a squat, so there's a little bit less shearing of the knees at the bottom of the movement compared to a hack squat. That's why I like to normally band the hack squats, to take a little bit of tension off at the bottom. But definitely a great exercise if you haven't got a hack squat available, or you just want a variation in your training. The next up go-to would be my some sort of a leg press. In this video, I've got my feet a little bit higher on the pad. This is a squat press, so it's a hinging leg press. If you can, it's got a big pad, so you can get your feet a little bit lower, so there's a little bit more knee flexion. So this is going to be a lot of tension at the middle range of the movement. The reason why I wouldn't put this as number one is because you don't really get the full stretch on the quads, but there is a lot more tension at the bottom in the mid-range on the quads. So definitely a great exercise to add to your routine. Again, you've got the bracing of the pad, which can be, if you don't know what you're doing, can be a little bit tough on the knees. The other alternative is a 45-degree leg press, which is, as you can see, you get a little bit more knee flexion on this one, and this is a hammer strength leg press. And again, you're not really getting the lengthened position on the muscle, but there is a lot of tension in the middle, and you can really load the leg press up as long as you're not rounding the back or your spine at the bottom of the movement. It's a very, very good exercise to have in your routine, and a different sort of variation to the squat press. And then last would be a barbell squat. So this is a low bar squat, so I'm not really targeting quads with this. A high bar squat would be better choice for hypertrophy, but again, there's a lot more stability issues with a high bar squat. So it's better for building strength, but not as good if you're just looking purely for hypertrophy. For beginners, they should start building strength first, but for experienced trainers trying to get the most out of their training, that's why I would choose a hack squat to get the most out of the session. So that's the video wrapped up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope that gave you a few tips for your exercise selection.